Alright, Shalom, Akim. As always, Halalim Blah, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashir Hakodash. Means all praise to the Most High Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai. And of course, Halalim Blah, meaning all praises to Yahweh being the ancient Hebrew name of the Most High. And of course, Yahushai being the ancient Hebrew name of the Messiah as well. And out here again, in the highways, to preach His words unto you Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And of course, today's topic is spiritual power, your service before glory. Which is pertaining to the fact that when Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to bestow that spiritual power upon brothers, the thing is, although yes, we do meditate upon it every single day, Yahweh says that we're worthy of it. The thing is, what we're really wishing for is that the thing is, when He bestows that power, that we're also humble enough to then admit the fact that we're still doing a service to Yahweh Yahushua. But of course, as we're still in these earthly bodies, and Yahushua's kingdom still hasn't been established yet, we're still supposed to be glorifying Yahweh Yahushua. Even in the kingdom as well, the kingdom of Yahushua, we're still supposed to be glorifying it. We're just simply vessels to be used in order to push up the kingdom, to push up Yahweh Yahushua, to exalt them. You shouldn't really be exalting yourself within this truth. So of course, Yahushua, if you really think about it, He's going to look at our past works, which is what we're doing right here, coming out in the highways, marketplaces, wherever I can preach to Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and of course Israelites, you know, as I said before, Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. As we preach unto them, wherever that may be, the thing is, Yahushua is going to find those type of men worthy in order to have that spiritual power, to receive that spiritual power, and then use it to exalt their names even more. Because as we're here, in the highways and byways, we're pretty much exalting the names of Yahweh Yahushua. That's why when we teach Israel, and they learn about Yahweh Yahushua, we're pretty much exalting them too. Exalting Yahweh Yahushua. As well as doing it for the edification of the flock of Israel, of the sheep of Israel. That's the thing. So, let me get this precept as well. And it's the key why we need to stay humble, isn't it? Because of the fact that we're simply vessels to simply do a service to Yahweh Yahushua, to simply be servants to Yahweh Yahushua. Of course, through Yahushua, that's how we access the Most High Yahweh. I wrote down the King James Version precepts as well, why you see this piece of paper. And of course, scriptures are here from the New King James, just in case if I remember any. But this is Galatians 6 verse 3. It says, for if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. And that's talking about the humility that we're supposed to have. When you think you're something that is normally above yourself, when you're actually lower than that, in reality, that's pretty much pride coming in. Coming out of your vessel. It's probably a demon, especially if it affects you a lot. That's the thing. That pride demon is in a lot of Israelites right now. They don't know that of course they're nothing right now. That's the thing. In all honesty, we're nothing. The lowest of society, we're serving our oppressors, Esau, Edom. Of course, what we're trying to do is declare the downfall of Esau's kingdom, uplift the names of Yahweh Yahushua, and of course bring more attention to them, so that Israel can come into the wisdom and knowledge that they won't stay in this lowly state forever. Yeah, reading again, says there Galatians 6 verse 3, for if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. And of course, as it says in the scriptures, pride comes before destruction. And of course, if a man be priding himself in his own works, especially vain works of the world, in terms of your achievements and what you've done in this world, of course, these things are going to fall away. Of course, as these things fall away, Israelites, there will be certain Israelites in this world, Yahweh will be part of that elect, that will be able to decipher the fact that there's a difference between vain glory and of course eternal glory. And it's eternal glory that we're striving for. Of course, after the fall of Esau, Edom, of course, this is only for Israelites really. The thing is, we know that that glory is going to come in the kingdom, not now. Right now, they could all just be walking by, smiling, mocking us, making us look weak. Eventually, Israelites are going to overcome Edom. We're going to be more powerful than them. And we're going to go into those precepts as well. It says here in Matthew 3 verse 9 about the fact that we need to remain humble as well, as servants of Yahweh Yahushua. Of course it says here, Matthew 3 verse 9, and think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father, for I say unto you that Yahweh is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. So of course it's talking about the fact that it's a light work for Yahweh in order to bring up new children of Israel. Just checking if it's still recording, obviously. So the point being is, it's a light thing for Yahweh to bring up new children of Israel. So of course we should pride ourselves on the fact that we're the children of Israel, you Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. Of course we're supposed to humble ourselves, stay in that humility mind state. So that the time when Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to exalt us, the things are actually worthy of it, because we humbled ourselves, we served Yahweh Yahushua, and we made sure that we actually exalted them and not ourselves, which is a constant thing to think about and examine within yourself. Make sure the attention goes to Yahweh Yahushua, which is why we do these works, come out in the highways and byways, we teach these Israel, especially as they pass by. Of course, not everyone's willing to listen, but we do try our best as well, you know. As trees distributing fruit, that's the way we should be. Simply going into our purpose. Brother, you know you're an Israelite. We're the chosen people of the Most High. I'll come back to Yahweh and Yahushua. Make sure you don't take that American to them, but eventually it's gonna come real soon. Of course, that's Israel right there, but they don't want to listen. You brothers know that you're Israelites. One of the chosen people of the Most High. The Most High's name is Yahweh, and His Son is Yahushua. The world ignorantly calls them God and Jesus Christ, but that's not their name in the ancient Hebrew. I just see Jake running, bro. Why is Jake running? Imagine if you saw it. It could be because of a bus. He might need to catch a bus, bro. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, he needs to catch a bus. Yeah, that's Jake right there, man. Jake don't want to listen. Brother, you know you're an Israelite. One of the chosen people on the Most High. Don't come back, man. Of course, serve it. Because our kingdom's coming real soon. And of course, literally day by day, week in, week out, things at least one Akim day by day goes out in the highways and byways to preach, and at least teaches Israel through the video, through the internet. Of course, through the internet, that's how these videos, these lessons are then distributed. So it says here, now I'll move on to the next one. Of course, remaining humble and doing our service that we're supposed to do, sole purpose of an Israelite right now. Right, so it says here in Proverbs chapter 14 verse 35, the king's favor is towards a wise servant. This is Proverbs chapter 14 verse 35. It says here the king's favor is towards a wise servant, but his wrath is against him that causeth shame. And of course, if you think about it, he's the King of Kings, Yahushua. Of course, Yahushua being the King of Kings, and it says here the king's favor is towards a wise servant. Us being this lowly estate, I mean, Salat, you're not lowly estate, even though it is true about the fact that we're in this lowly estate, but us fulfilling our purpose in this world is to simply wake up Israel, learn the scriptures, teach it to Israel, so that they may be lifted up in the wisdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, which will make them make a servant wise. At least you're just doing the will of Yahweh and Yahushua. You know, doing anything else rather is pretty much for vain, not vainglory, but rather sometimes for vainglory, or rather pleasure of the flesh, or of course, yeah, vainglory for the world. Yeah, let's read it again. It says the king's favor. Of course, we can put this to Yahushua. It says here, the king's favor is toward a wise servant. This is what we aspire to be. But his wrath is against him that causes shame. So of course, the Israelites that aren't really aspiring to do this work, teaching Israel, you know, you Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, of course that's putting to shame about what our purpose is supposed to be. If you ain't teaching, no wisdom to you Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, to you Israelites, chosen people of the Most High, the thing is, what are you doing? You're relaxing, you're chilling. And that's a shame to Yahushua. And Yahushua doesn't want a shameful servant. That's the thing. You Latinos are Israelites, you know. You'll come back to the Most High. His name is Yahweh. And the Messiah is known as Yahushua. See that? You know, you know, when Latinos, Negroes, of course Israelites, as we know, pass by, some of them are attracted to the world. As you saw, the children were looking back. Well, one of his sons were looking back. Was attracted to that word. Right now, of course, as they're getting into that, as a later stage, sometimes it's harder for Israel to grasp it. That's why it says, train up a child the way he should go, so that he can be oriented towards the good path of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, you know, which are these scriptures. So as it says here in Matthew 24 verse 45, it says, "Who then is faithful and wise, whom is the Lord, hath made ruler over his household to give them meat in due season." So of course, we know that in a time where Jacob's trouble is coming, we're still going to need help. But of course, you know, to actually be worthy to receive that help, we're still going to have to be aspiring and also working towards being that faithful and wise servant. Of course, our faith is going to be tested upon this world where when a famine, destruction comes, all sorts of pestilences come, and the major one being the mark of the beast. When it comes, our faith is really going to be tested. Where's our faith going to lie upon? Where's our trust going to lie upon? When Yahweh Shem Yahshai, that's where it should be. And I'll read it again. It says in Matthew 24, verse 45, "Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season." And of course, if you really think about it, these scriptures, the true breakdown and understanding of them, we're trying to put that to Israel, teach that to Israel. So this is really the meat that Yahweh Shem Yahshai is imposing upon Israel to eat. And you can even link that with the scriptures where it says about I think Ezekiel 3, talking about the fact that it says eat this roll. Of course, a roll is made of, you know, flour and all these ingredients. It's not really a meat, but you can pertain it onto that type of interpretation where Israel needs to eat meat. Israel needs to eat something, which are the scriptures, in order for them to get that wisdom to obtain salvation. Really. And of course, that's aspiration as well. Brother, you know you're an Israelite. One of the chosen people of the Most High. Of course, that's Jake right there. Not always listen. But you know, eventually, when Jacob's trouble comes, all 1/3 will reveal themselves. What we aspire for, to teach Israel and bring them onto this truth. To keep doing that same role. Teaching, learning first, and then of course teaching after. So it says here, in fact, I think I've got another precept for that too. I wrote it down, So a precept linking to a faithful and a wise servant. It says here, in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 27, "He that diligently seeketh good procureth favor, but he that seeketh mischief, it shall come unto him." Now, of course, that's talking about judgment. That's the thing. If you ain't doing the will of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, that judgment is going to come. Of course, it says, "He that diligently seeketh good, procureth favor." And of course, we're going to need that favor in the time of destruction, the time of pestilence, famine, and all sorts of things that are going to put us in a lowly state. So of course, he who does the good, and he who seeketh Yahweh Shem Yahshai, is going to procure favor, which means obtain favor. And of course, that favor, one of the forms of spiritual power. Brother, you know you're an Israelite.
Huh?
Do you know you're an Israelite? One of the chosen people of the Most High. You know, Christianity is bullshit, you know. You shouldn't be in that stuff as well, brother. Even the young ones as well. And he's probably like about the same age as I am as well. That's the thing. I just don't want to come, man. That's why you younger brothers as well. Don't say Father Yahushai has he's giving you the opportunity, you know, to understand this truth and teach it as well. He's provided you the Spirit in order to teach rightly. So of course is what we need to do to Israel. Teach them well in all wisdom, as it says in Colossians 1 verse 28. You know, teaching unto every man in all wisdom. So of course, as it pertains to the topic as well, it says spiritual power, your service before the glory. This is meaning that we should focus on serving Yahweh and Yahushua first before we then start thinking about the glory. Of course, when that spiritual power comes, it's because of the fact that we need to exalt Yahweh and Yahushua. Of course, all that glory, leave that part for the kingdom. When Yahushua comes back, of course, establishes his rulership, his order upon this earth, then start thinking about glorification and all that. Where we've actually obtained the salvation. But right now, sole purpose is to exalt Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. That's the thing. Even when you receive that spiritual power, it's also to exalt them. You know, as Yahushua said, he said, greater work shall you do? Roughly paraphrasing. In fact, Yahushua, I'll get it right now. It says here, says here in John 14 verse 12, it says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also. And greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. So of course, as Yahushua is observing his brother as they serve, and of course, being a good, faithful servant, a wise servant, doing the will and focusing on it, making that a priority over everything. That's the thing. Of course, using wisdom as well, you know. Brothers still got jobs currently, but eventually those jobs are going to be done away with, and vain things of this world are going to be done away with, or which we relied upon previously. But as I always say, in the time to come, we're pretty much going to rely on Yahweh Hashem Yahushua solely. So come. It says, verily, this is John 14 verse 12. It says, verily I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do also, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. So of course, as I said, as the outside is observing us right now, we'll be thinking, okay, this person, this brother right here, is being a good and faithful servant, a wise servant. So then when the time comes where spiritual power is going to be bestowed upon certain Akim, of course, apostles on down, the thing is, the Aratazar is pretty much trying to be worthy of that spiritual power. And even then, he's also pretty much going to, if you read that scripture, it says because I go unto my Father, so of course through Yahushua, that's how we get onto Yahweh. And of course, Yahweh's will is what actually plays out. So of course, if we be worthy of that spiritual power, it means that it's part of Yahweh's will that we're going to get. That's the thing, as the scriptures are here, and it beholds it, only those Akim, those brothers that keep persevering in this truth and teaching no wisdom and sincerity, things only those are going to be worthy of that spiritual power. And Salaki Akim as well, if I keep repeating things too. But the point being, the simple point being is, we're trying to be worthy to get that spiritual power, not to exalt ourselves, but rather to exalt Yahweh Hashem Yahushua further. When it says greater works he shall do, you think about it, healing the sick. And you know, I'm going to get to another scripture as well, where Peter and John, you know, when they healed that one, I think that brother, that Israelite who couldn't walk really. So of course, when Peter healed, when Peter and John healed the guy who couldn't walk, of course he was able to walk again. That's the point. Brother, you know you're an Israelite. Huh? Yeah. Wait, brother, what country are you from? You're Protestant. Have you heard of the Hebrew Israelite? Have you heard of the Hebrew Israelite? Yeah. Yeah, sorry, what country are you from? South Africa? No, but you guys don't get along with African too. No, but they're different types. That's the thing. There's Hamites, those are three Africans. Then there's Israelites, those are Hebrews, Latinos, and they're French people. I asked what country you're from because of the fact that I was trying to discern whether you're Israelite. Some people look part of different nations, but of course they may be an Israelite. So according to your doctrine, what am I? Huh? According to your doctrine, what am I? You're probably an Israelite. I'm sure I'm not a Hamite. Hamites are from Africa. Because normally, although typically Israelites are from the western side of Africa, the thing is, you could be an Israelite as well because of the fact that you're also attracted to this word.
But Israelites are Shemites.
Huh?
Israelites are Shemites.
They're descended from Shem. But
Yeah,
the thing
that's what
is,
I'm saying. Shemites. in terms of
the
descent.
chosen seed line is from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So Abraham, anything above Abraham, you ignore. Israelites come from simply the seed
So
line of
if you're-
Abraham, Isaac, and
So
Jacob.
if you're a Shemite,
Yeah.
so if you're a Hemite, or from Yafet,
Pretty much a typical heathen. That's the thing. Yeah. You could
But
be
they're
an
family.
Israelite.
But they're family. I'm not. It doesn't matter.
Well, you don't think you are.
I don't.
I mean, in time you may find out. Time.
But that's my problem because they're family.
Huh?
They're family.
We what? Ham and what?
Ham, Shem.
Japheth,
Yeah. So
Shem.
anybody that descends from those three lines, or two other lines,
But that's where
That's
majority
family.
of the nations come from. But the thing is, Israel's just that separate seed line. That's essentially
but
what I'm saying.
that's according to what's in the book, right?
Yeah.
According to your reference.
So the thing, wait, do you even believe in this?
I've heard of it. I'm devil. I'm devil.
Me being out here, it's pretty much showing my dedication onto you. Have you heard of the names Yahweh and Yahweh Shai?
I heard, yeah.
So, okay, who's Yahweh?
You say it's God?
Yeah. Okay, what about Yahweh Shai?
I don't know. What's your name?
Yahweh Shai is the Messiah. It's the world ignorant of Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, sure.
That's what it is. It's Yahweh Shai. But then Yeshua, the thing is, if you break down the ancient Hebrew letters, there was no year. Like, you know the year in Yeshua. There's no year sound. There's only majority of the alphabet.
There's no
is
Ye
R.
sound, but make up the A sound.
But majority of the letters are R.
You don't have to speak the vowels.
But the thing is, the true name,
It's called consonantal.
if you go back to the ancient Hebrew, it's Yahweh Shai. Yeshua doesn't correlate with the ancient Hebrew. That's the thing. There's no shu in the ancient Hebrew. There's sha, but that u sound isn't there. It's only Yahweh Shai.
You have to make it out.
Huh?
You have to make it out. There's no vowels per se in terms of it, right?
We're talking about
It's
Yeshua.
more consonantal. So you won't
Well,
see
yeah,
the
I guess you
vowel.
could say.
You won't see the vowel, but you know what it was depending on what came before it. So, but anyway, but yeah, I was just, they're all family.
I'm really, as I said, well, I don't know if I've said this, but the intention now is pretty much to preach on some Negroes, Latinos, as I consider as Israelites.
But hold on.
And also as the words consider.
Some Latinos are mixed race.
Yeah, but it's all about the father seed.
Hold on. According to your doctrine, you see, that's where we have a dilemma. According to your teaching, say they come from white and black, and they speak a Latin tongue.
Yeah.
The white man, according to your teaching, is Edom.
Yeah, he's Edom.
That's according to
Edom,
Edom.
yeah.
So they've got Edom in their genes. How do you tell
How do you know that they got Edom in there? Because
saying.
it's pertaining to the father seed. Because you
Yeah.
know, also, let's think about it.
Wait, listen, I'm saying, you asked a question about that. I'm giving you an example. There are some Latinos, a lot of Latinos that have white from their fathers.
From the father seed.
Yes.
That's the thing.
That's standard.
If those so-called Latinos have the father seed of Edom, they're not Israelites. That's the thing. But you know, if it's through the father seed, if it was a true Latino from the father's side that gave birth to another Latino from the father's side, they gave birth to a son or daughter, that person's an
You've got
Israelite.
a lot of division to make.
It's all about the father seed line. That's essentially what I'm saying. If the father's an Israelite, then the son and the children, the offspring are Israelites as well. But of course, not all Latinos may be Latinos.
But it works different with Yeshua.
No, let's focus on the.
No, but I'm saying the same example.
Well, you understand what I'm saying about the father seed?
From the father. So the genealogy
Yeah.
is only logged into the father seed. I'm
Yeah.
saying for Yeshua, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What's different?
What do you mean? Yeah, in the spirit world, because the thing is, the spirit comes before the flesh. You may be laughing right now.
Wait, genes are physical.
Okay.
As physical as
Okay,
they
well,
get.
pertain to the physical though.
Alright.
He was born from Mary, his father was Joseph.
Who's the seed coming from?
Joseph.
So Joseph is a father. Physical is the
pertaining
Just
to
the biological father.
yeah, pertaining to the earthly side of things, Joseph was the father of Yahushua.
Wait.
That's
It's in
literally
your logs?
That's literally I'm
It's in
telling
your
you.
logs?
I'm telling you.
No. It's in your logs.
Yeah, but the thing is, right now I'm still also learning as well. But that's the truth.
You must
Joseph
go
and
find
Mary.
out.
But normally the Christian church, don't put that Christian mentality into it.
No, but you need the same thing.
Yeah, but it's
Okay,
the same
so-
spirit that
I'm saying
interprets.
from the same text,
Yeah.
writing. Does it say Joseph is a father? Oh yeah,
That's the
sure.
thing, as I
Okay,
said,
got
I'm
you.
still
I'm
studying.
saying,
so-
okay.
But that's what I sincerely believe. I'm still studying.
Okay, see, this is now you come to what I'm saying. It's all on the basis of belief, not fact. And fact insofar as it's written because this
I
is
mean,
your
faith
this
is
is your
God.
that's fine, that's what I'm gonna talk about that. But the primary source of your doctrine is this.
Yeah.
So if it's not there, then it's not faith. It's all about belief.
We believe everything is.
Okay, it's belief. But the chef that have the evidence. Because I know Hebrew Israelites don't like Africans. In large part because Africans are supposed to be. And
They
you're
pretty
learning.
much sold them
Sorry,
into slavery.
you're learning, so
Of course, I'm still
So
learning,
I'm
but
not-
I'm teaching what I understand.
do your thing, bro.
That's pretty much the
I
part
respect.
that I need to study.
At least you're getting close to identification or identity. But what I'm saying, what I'm trying to impress upon you is the idea that from what I've heard in terms of Hebrew Israelites, they believe heaven to slime.
Yeah, because the thing is,
And they
they
say
put them
Africans
into
sold them
slavery.
into
as well.
slavery.
They sold them into slavery. Because you know when it says the typical story about Africans selling Africa, it was Hamites selling Israelites
How
as
do you
slaves.
distinguish that? This is the problem. I
That's the
have.
thing.
How do you distinguish that?
It's not by skin color, it's literally by spirit as well. The spirit of an Israelite is different to the spirit of a
but you see
Hamite.
that now we're going back into belief. How do you distinguish the fact that okay, this person that sold me is a Hamite and he's selling me an Israelite?
Right now,
Or-
physically with your eyes, you can't really discern.
You see now it's belief. You're back
That's
in
why
belief.
faith comes in as
You're
well.
like the same thing. Belief and faith. It's something you can't verify.
That's why I also struggle. That's why when I ask you,
Follow what
what country are you from as well? Because I'm like, okay,
But you can't.
you could be an Israelite maybe.
Yeah, I know what I am.
Have you heard of the mark of the beast?
Yeah.
But
I
have you
haven't.
taken the thing or not? You haven't. You haven't taken any doses as well.
I don't-
Don't trust it. Don't trust it. See, that's the
I
thing.
know what is. I know what it is. I know.
That's the thing. That's why I said you could be an
It's
Israelite.
all
as well.
nanodust.
Yeah, there's nanoparticles within it. You know.
But what I'm saying to you is, they don't like Africa. And they can't distinguish Israelite and Islam. So
It's all by the spirit.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You could, but then you're no different from Christian
You're saying Hebrew Israelites are no different from Christians.
in terms of the you know.
You see Christians preaching out here in the highways and miles and markets. You see them. Of course, with microphones. But the thing is, the difference is they preach with another name. We preach with Yahweh and
I'm
Yahweh.
saying essentially.
There is
You're teaching the Messiah.
many
they're teaching the
differences.
Messiah. You're teaching faith. You're teaching belief. They're teaching faith. They're teaching belief.
Yeah.
Now, if you come down to the facts, like if you really get down to the nitty-gritty of the facts,
It's not the same though, but the thing is, with their way, if you follow their way, you're going to go to destruction. If you come to us, we believe you're going to get salvation. Of course, you can argue all
they
day, but
believe the same thing.
they don't.
They believe salvation.
Do they believe the Most High is black? So-called black.
Some of them.
Yeah, but the thing is,
But
they're taking it serious.
essentially, the core doctrine is
Do they believe the Bible solely for Israelites?
no, they don't.
Exactly.
don't.
And you're telling me it's basically the same thing. No.
No, it is. I'm saying in essence. it is.
In essence. So you're saying majority of the
But
case.
okay. You believe you read Paul's writings.
So they talk about Corinthians and
Yeah.
what is that? I'm
You
still
believe
reading,
all of
as I
that?
said, I'm still learning. I'm ready
But
to
you guys, I know you guys
Yeah.
subscribe to all of that.
Yeah.
Pull out of that to verify or to shore up your claims.
to teach and preach.
So it's the same thing. Christianity's basis is on Paul's writings. Yes, it is.
Not the same thing. Christianity, that's an idol. You finding out you're a Hebrew Israelite, that's pretty much you, your lifestyle.
The resurrection of the dead, the Holy Spirit, faith, all of that, that's Christianity. In essence, yeah, there
You
may
can
be
say
minor
that,
differences.
but that means you'll be thinking with a simple mind. You can't really come to this truth in terms of learn about Hebrew Israelites. Maybe you could be one as well. The thing is, when you come into it, it's more of a lifestyle, it's not a religion. Don't look at it as a religion.
Let me ask you something. What is it? What is that?
A so-called Negro, Latino, Native American Indian, chosen people to both sides. Chosen seed.
What does the word Hebrew mean?
If you break it
back
down,
then,
if you break it down,
because you said
Hebrew,
Abraham. If you don't check for Abraham,
Hebrew, that's the language they speak. Israelite, if you break it down, it's Yasha Allah in the ancient Hebrew. In the actual language they speak, Israelite is traced down to Yasha Allah, which means Prince of the Power. So essentially, if you break it down, people who spoke Hebrew are known as princes of the power.
so the reason I ask this,
So if you want to break
you're
it down,
saying Hebrew means the language.
yeah. That's why you can also say Hebrew Edomite as well.
So if you're saying Hebrew Israelite,
Yeah.
are you talking about the language and then the Israelite?
I'm talking about the people. Negroes,
Because the
Latinos,
word-
Native American Indians.
Because there is no language called Hebrew, really, technically, Hebrew.
But I'm referring to the people when I say Hebrew, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're saying it's a language, and I'm saying.
No, I said Hebrew, you know the part. When
Yeah,
I
okay,
said,
let's take
I
those.
broke it down in two words.
Let's deal with the first one. It comes first, then yeah. Hebrew's not a language.
Hebrew is a language. Hebrew is a language. Ancient Hebrew came first before modern Hebrew, on which those fake Jews. Have you heard of the fake Jews before?
Yeah, no, let's leave that. Let's go in the text. But there's no, in the text, there's no language.
There is. In the book of Acts, doesn't it talk about, if I forget, no, where's my friend? I'm recording
back,
right.
okay. We went back to around Abraham's time, after Abraham. Joseph,
So why did it say,
the first time Hebrew is mentioned is Genesis 13. Genesis 13. That's where Abraham was in the plains of Mamre, the Canaan. And they said, oh, there's Abraham. And the word Hebrew comes from the means, in translation, is from the word Hebrew. One who moves from place to place. The word Hebrew is not a language because it moved from the Tigris Euphrates across to the plains of Mamre. So he went from the Tigris and the Euphrates across, going all the way to Egypt. So I'm saying that Hebrew is not a language.
or do you believe it's a language?
No, I'm telling you what it says in there.
So you're saying Hebrew is not a
an
language?
action, an action. So what if you, for somebody who's like a traveler, is an Ukraine. So it's not a language.
Well, okay, cool. It's a traveler.
Yeah.
So that's what you're
The
saying?
person that moves from place to place.
Okay, now let's add Israelite to it.
Israelite.
That's more of a specialized position.
But the word Israel comes from Israelite, that's from the word Israel. Ascending to El. Who's El?
Talk about the Most High.
God. That is. El.
I did say Most
One.
High. I did say
Most
Most
High.
High. That is referring to God, Yahweh. I can't lie, brother. Right now, I'm supposed to be doing a lesson.
Okay.
But I don't want to be
Go
super
ahead,
confused.
but I'm just saying, we have to get into the language to really understand it.
But
Because
when I
you
say Hebrew
when you
Israelite,
say Most High, in the
I'm
language,
talking about Yahweh. We people call gods.
Yeah.
But that's not his name. He has the name.
It's really Yahweh.
It's Yahweh. Yahuwah is in the ancient Hebrew. And I'm talking about the language. Where's the Hu sound in the ancient Hebrew alphabet?
But remember,
Search up the ancient Hebrew alphabet. You can do it right now if you want. Search up the ancient Hebrew alphabet. Where do you find the sound U in it? It's 22 letters. 21 of those letters are R sound. Like Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Sa. I'm talking about the ancient, not modern.
yeah, you're
Ancient Hebrew.
not talking about the money, you're talking about the Asian.
You search of it, and then one of those letters is I. That I sound, which is you can identify Yahweh Shai. The other side says Yahweh Shai. Yahweh
How
Shai.
ancient? Okay, you're saying the ancient. How ancient? Well, I said because I'm just
I don't know everything.
No, you said the ancient Hebrew. I'm saying how ancient is it?
Definitely older
Because
than modern
that's
Hebrew.
definitely a dialect that Abraham didn't speak. Because Abraham,
I don't know about that,
Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. So, right? That's we're going about Genesis or Exodus chapter 3 on the mountain. when Moses confronted with Yahuwah.
Yeah.
Okay? Alright, so I'm saying, how ancient is that? Because now you're telling me about modern Hebrew, which is by Ashkenazi. The white Ashkenazis and the Sephardim and all those things. Right? I'm talking about, now you're talking this, you're saying there's an ancient Hebrew. I'm saying there's no language for Hebrew because Hebrew is not a language. It's an action. So I'm asking, and I know you've got your lesson, but how ancient is that? When you say, how ancient is that in Yeshua's time? Was it Dawood's time?
Honestly believe that it's during the time of Abraham that's the last spoke.
Because there are many,
it's not about my opinion.
But I'm saying right there in your Bible, there are many words for God, but they translate as God.
And there's a title. Because you know in the Bible they normally refer to God's name.
But when they translate it into English, it's God.
Yeah, but that's the title.
Okay, so there's the
It means power.
there's the Elohim.
Yeah, but that's not the title.
That's not what I'm saying. That's fine, but the translation. So I'm saying, if you're saying that there's no I'm saying how far back are we going to determine that at that point in time, in Moses' time, for instance, because you have to remember, Moses was Egyptian. Moses was an Egyptian by nationality.
Okay, by nationality.
In terms of nation state.
Okay, but by
blood,
seed line.
according to you guys, Moses was Israel. Fine. But in Egypt, there's a who.
What are you talking about? The sound group.
The alphabet, the abjad.
Of course, yeah, there were Israelites that spoke
Okay,
the
so
song.
I'm saying,
We began to
but,
talk that.
no, but what I'm saying is how far do you go back? Because there are different dialects for the language they're speaking. There's Ashuric and Ashuric, what's the other one? Ashuric is what they call Syria. What's this one now? What Jesus is supposed to discuss?
So-called Aramaic.
Aram. So it comes from Aram and Ashur. So those are different dialects. And then you go into it goes back into Arabic, it goes into Arabic, modern day Arabic, and it goes into what you call Hebrew is Hebrew now today, which is watered down.
So you're saying.
So my point is,
you've broken down Hebrew and Israelite. I've broken down to Hebrew. You know that term Hebrew Israelite, I told you first was referred to the people. The thing is that Hebrew was broken down, talking about the fact that it's a traveler, and also the fact that I told you then linked it up with the Israelite term. So technically, in your position, what you've experienced, you're saying that it's a traveler that's an Israelite. That's essentially what Hebrew Israelite is. That's essentially what he told me.
No, but in terms of Abraham.
No. In terms of what he broke down, he said Hebrew means traveler.
The word Hebrew. This is what I was telling you, it's not a language, it's an action.
Well, you said
So
it's a
that
traveler
now-
essentially. It's a traveler.
But what I'm saying is, the word Hebrew, don't mix it up and add it to your thing. The word Hebrew, let's take it for what it is. It's priestly too, if you want to put it. The word Hebrew means traveler. One who travels from place to place. It's not a language. There's no language in there.
I mean, you can say that, but
Right in
I still
there.
believe it's a language.
Right in there, there's no language, there's no language or language called.
That's the thing. Although we know that these scriptures have been watered down, translation upon translation. From the original ancient Hebrew, I believe the Old Testament, of course, the Greek and the New Testament. You don't believe in that, do you?
What's that?
The fact that the Old Testament was written in ancient Hebrew, and of course the New Testament in Greek. They translate.
Ancient.
Yeah. Not modern. Not modern. I mean, we can continue.
There's no language called. Yeah, but anyway, you're gonna do your lesson, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no language. Because you've got different dialects of what they spoke, whether it be Arabic or Hebrew is not a language.
But think about it. Okay, let's say, you said it's a traveler. Hebrew's a traveler.
It means somebody who moves from place to place. Yeah.
She's a traveler.
In tones and it's
Now that we've
Arabic.
come to that conclusion where you said, okay, it's a person who moves from place to place. Now think about the Israelite added on to it. Because I'm just focusing on Israel.
Alright, fine. That's you're using.
So technically, it's a traveler that's an Israelite.
No, but that's
essentially what I'm
that's a
saying.
modern day term by you guys, so that's okay.
What, the Israelites?
Yeah, call it whatever you want to call it.
The Israelite.
Yeah. No.
So why are you
when
calling
you
up
say
the Hebrew?
when you you say Hebrew Israelite, that's your term.
I'm talking about the people. That's simply what
But
it is.
that's your term. You got the you joined the two gods. It's not.
So you're just breaking down
There's
one.
no Hebrew Israelite.
I mean, yeah, we got Hebrew.
Yeah, okay. So you guys.
And you got Israelites as well. But because of the fact that they spoke ancient Hebrew, that's why we call it Hebrew Israelites. That's the thing, it's by the language. That's what we believe in faith. We spoke Hebrew, ancient Hebrew.
And that's what you believe.
Yeah. And also we believe that we're Israelites as well.
See, so my thing is, okay, I mean, I respect your people. Yeah. It's not so much I don't respect it. But the next level for me is you have to show me.
Well, but as I said, I'm
If I
still
say
learning.
Abraham, if I say Abraham to you,
Yeah.
is if I say to Abraham and in the days of Matthew, the Canaanites say, oh, that's Abraham the Hebrew. When he came from the Tigris and Euphrates, he crossed over. And it explains the word, it explains is a traveler. Then I can show you that's in Genesis 13. If I want to talk about